So I've worked in the UK health system as a podiatrist for 10 years, and I've recently moved to Jamaica. How am I finding things? So this video is for those who may want to relocate and do the same move as I have done, UK to the Caribbean, or maybe it's for those in the diaspora that are curious to see what it's like moving, relocating and working. This video might even be useful for other people who are in the healthcare profession, such as physios, nurses, doctors, anyone in the healthcare circle at all. Stay tuned and I will talk all about my transition. So, as I said, I've been a podiatrist for 10 years, a little over 10 years now, and I started off in England. I trained in podiatry, so I have a BSc Hons in podiatric medicine. And in England, I worked in the NHS. That's where I first begun. And then I transitioned over into private practice. And then alongside working in private practice, I started my own business where I did a home clinic. So I set up a nice garden room, a nice garden space. And within there was my clinic. So I actually worked from home. Also did home visits for people who can get to me. I could then go to them. And I also did nursing home visits as well. So that's a little bit about what I did in England. So I did a little bit of everything over the time. Oh, I also did a bit of locuming as well, where I worked for an agency. I've now moved to Jamaica and I'm about 6 weeks into working here as a podiatrist in the healthcare system. So I'm in the private healthcare system at the moment and I'm loving it. There obviously are differences, but I am loving it. So let's rewind it back a little bit. So to let you more into the personal life, why I decided to move to Jamaica. I have 3 children and it's largely because of them why me, my husband, we really wanted to move. Alongside that, I really wanted to bring podiatry to Jamaica. There are podiatrists here, wonderful, wonderful podiatrists, and I just wanted to add to the team really and offer my skill set here in podiatry. I've moved to Jamaica from scratch and I'm starting from the bottom and slowly building up my business. It obviously has not been easy, but again, 6 weeks in, I'm happy with the early steps that I've made. So there has been some challenges, such as registering. Obviously, when you're trained in one country, you're very familiar to how it works in that country. And then when you move to another one, it's finding out again how to navigate things, how things work, where to start, then where to go next. So that has been quite challenging. But with time, I've got there. In England, I was registered to the HCPC and also the Society of Chiropodists and Podiatrists. In Jamaica, that doesn't quite carry over. You need to register to another professional body, which here it's the CPSM. So once finding that out, it makes things a lot clearer and then you progress on from there. So again, if you're a physio or a doctor or a nurse, your registering body here in Jamaica might be different to who it is in England. Again, it's just the process of finding these things out, which, as I said, can be challenging, but you navigate through. You give yourself time and you navigate through. In terms of first impressions of the differences, I guess when I trained in England and went into working, I went into the NHS. And my first impressions there was a little different because I'm newly qualified. I was a new graduate. So, you're a little bit more unsure of how things work. And again, you're just trying to find your feet. Whereas coming here to Jamaica, again, you're getting used to the differences. But I guess because I have been doing podiatry now for 10 plus years, I'm a little more confident with starting out. And I think as well, where I've gone into the NHS in England and gone private in England and started my own business in England, I've I don't want to say I've started over a lot of times, but I've developed into different ways a lot of the time. So developing here, again, it's just kind of finding your feet. So for me, first impressions was in England, I guess from graduating to finding my feet, yeah, a little bit more nerve-wracking because I was kind of new to podiatry, whereas here, not as nerve-wracking. So another challenge that I found is in England, podiatry is pretty well known. People know how to access a podiatrist, what a podiatrist does. As I say, yeah, it's well known what podiatry is. In Jamaica, it's not as well known what a podiatrist is, or who a podiatrist is, and what a podiatrist does. So I found this quite a heavy difference. In England, I was entering a profession that was already established, whereas here in Jamaica, I'm entering a profession that isn't as established. So I'm finding a lot of what I do here in Jamaica is raising awareness to what I do as a podiatrist, where I am and how I can help people. So that's one difference that I've found between the two countries. Another big difference I've found is the pathways of how to access podiatry. So in England, the main two pathways you have is NHS and you have private. So if you're going through England, the NHS pathway, normally you start off with your doctor normally, and you would go to the doctor and you say, hello doctor, I have a foot issue. If you're eligible, they will then refer you on to a podiatrist. I say if, because you have to meet certain criteria for that referral to happen. And even when that referral happens, there is still a delay between the time that the doctor passes you on to the time you actually get to see a podiatrist. So that's one way. The other way is the private route. So again, in England, you can go through the private route, which is sourcing a podiatrist yourself. You find them, you contact them, you book an appointment, and that's your route in. In Jamaica, you have, again, the private route, which is you source the podiatrist yourself and you book an appointment, you go and you see them. So again, very straightforward. Or again here, you do have a bit of a referral route. So a patient might go and see their doctor, see their GP, and they might want to be referred to a podiatrist. But again, I'm pretty sure all the podiatrists here are within private practice, or they might go through their private health insurance to fund their podiatry appointment. So the pathways are slightly different, not majorly different, but slightly different. Another difference I've found is, I guess it might be again down to awareness, but I find in England, patients will seek podiatry treatment quickly. If they know they've got a foot issue, they will see a podiatrist. The foot issue happens today, they're going within that week to see their podiatrist. I find here in Jamaica, as I say, it's probably due to the lack of awareness that if people have got a foot issue, it will go on for some time before they seek treatment. But again, I think that might be down to the awareness issue that, you know, if you've got a foot issue, but you don't actually know that there's someone there that can help that foot issue, it does linger on. And obviously, the longer something lingers on, potential of the worse it being. So there's always that worry that if this issue is lingering on and on and on, the condition can actually worsen. So most common foot problems that I see, so in England, I would say the most common ones that I see are probably corns, hard skin. You get quite a fair amount of verrucas as well. So I'm going to say corns, hard skin, verrucas, and biomechanical issues as well. They're probably the main things I've seen in England. Coming over to Jamaica now, I would say a lot of the issues that I've seen in Jamaica so far have been diabetes related, such as ulcers. For ulcers, what else have I seen? I've seen a lot of corns, a lot of hard skin. a lot of cracked heels as well. In England, there's colder climate, a lot colder versus Jamaica. And in these types of two different climates, you get obviously different lifestyle, different footwear choices. So in England, I would always wear trainers or shoes only on the hot days, which doesn't happen too much in England, but when it is hot, it is hot. You would then wear sandals. But most of the time you'll be enclosed in shoes, most of the time in England. In Jamaica now, most of the time you're in sandals or some type of open shoe because it is a lot warmer here in Jamaica. Those two different types of footwear can present two different types of issues that you can get associated with the feet. So in terms of working in podiatry, in the two, there are a lot of differences, but there are quite a lot of similarities as well. So again, you've got different routes. So in England, you've got the NHS and private, but pretty much for podiatry here in Jamaica, there's pretty much private. In both private sectors, you can, it depends on how you want to work. Some people offer mobile services, some people rent clinics. So again, in Jamaica, I've chosen to rent clinics. In England, I've also done the same. In England, as I said, I've done home visits, I've worked in the NHS, I've worked for agencies. Where I am just starting out and finding my feet in Jamaica, at the moment, I am renting clinic spaces. Or again, another way you can do it is a fee split. When you are working privately, you have to do a lot of marketing yourself or rely on word of mouth. In Jamaica, I am constantly trying to promote myself, market myself. Again, it's raising that awareness that people need to know that you're here and know what you do to then know where to find you and know what you can actually help with. So word of mouth here really does help, and constantly trying to market yourself. You want to try network as much as you can. Speak to, so for me, again, working in podiatry, I have gone across to the hospital. I've handed out leaflets in the hospital. If I can speak to nurses, I've spoken to nurses, spoken to doctors, even just meeting people in everyday life. I'll be at the supermarket, for example, and a lady will just start talking to me at the till, and they'll just ask what you do, and I'll say I'm a podiatrist, and then again you'll get talking along the lines of podiatry, and they'll say, oh, I know someone that's got a foot problem, do you have a card? And yeah, so word of mouth and marketing and just networking works wonders here. Also, you want to have the digital setup. So in Jamaica, Instagram's used quite a lot, WhatsApp's used quite a lot. So having an Instagram and a WhatsApp will really help push your business forward. In England, I had a website, I had an Instagram, I had WhatsApp, I had TikTok. What else? I had a lot of digital marketing. Again, it does help because people can see what you do, where you are. It all helps. I would say word of mouth, again in England, did help because people would tell their friends and tell their family, but I'd say word of mouth, not as much relied upon as it is in Jamaica. In the two, you have different costs. So if you are renting your clinical space, again, cost is going to be very, very different, UK versus Jamaica. And I'll put an example here. Again, even terms of your equipment costs are going to be very, very different. Sourcing them is going to be very, very different. Finding your supplies is going to be very, very different. In terms of work opportunity, again, podiatry focused is also very different. Work opportunity in England, I guess because podiatry more known, there's more of a scale. So for example, you can go into NHS podiatry and you would start at a band 5, and if you do want to progress, you can go up to a band 6 where you take on more skills. You can go up to a band 7 and a band 8 and into managerial roles, and you can take on a lot more roles, or you can specialize into something. So in terms of podiatry in England, the opportunities that you have there. You can go into lecturing as well, might I say. You can go into podiatry teaching. Again, you can go into forensics. Opportunities are very rich there, very, very rich. If you know what you want to do and where you want to take it, there's a lot of avenues. In terms of Jamaica, I guess, again, podiatry is not as well known, so you have to almost create the role that you would like. So if you do want to do podiatry in the public sector, it might be you having to implement that. Again, it can be done. It's something I've not fully looked into, but I'm sure it's something that can be done. In terms of if you want to do your podiatry privately, you can create the type of role that you want to offer, or the type of service that you want to offer, I should say. If you know you like doing diabetes, you might just want to offer diabetic foot care. If you know you like doing nail surgery, you might want to specifically on nail surgery and just offer that. Or if you're more of a general practitioner, then you can do a bit of everything and offer everything. Again, here you kind of create your own role in Jamaica, providing you're working privately and you're a sole trader. I've always said, kind of from day one, I'm starting off as a sole trader. I am renting space, split basis. But where I'd like to be long term is, in the long term, I would love to have my own clinic. I would love to have that. I'd love to have my own clinic, kind of like where I'm working now. I'd love to have my own clinic where I'm the podiatrist, but equally I'd have a physio there, or I'd have like an orthotics lab where I can make orthotics. I could have like an orthopedic surgeon there. I'd love just, a whole team that could work together to help patients, to help them with their mobility and foot care. That's something I would like to work towards in the future. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to take baby steps to hopefully one day get there, but that is what I would love to have in the future. Let's talk about equipment and working environment. Equipment in England, to be honest, it's very, very easy to get. You've got lots of podiatry suppliers, like specific podiatry suppliers, or you've got medical suppliers, you've got hospital suppliers. You can ship things in from abroad. You can buy things on Amazon. You've got a vast amount of places to get what you need. Even contact dental suppliers. Again, as long as you've got your HCPC registration, which proves you're registered, you can get your supplies pretty easily. Here in Jamaica, again, I've got my CPSM registration. I'm now contacting suppliers for podiatry items, and I'm finding it's not as easy. I'm not going to say it's difficult, because it's really not, but it's not as easy. Again, I think because podiatry isn't really well known, it's not really developed, it's not a massive field here, finding specific things that I'm used to having in England, I'm not quite finding here. If I'm not finding exactly what I need, then I can just use alternatives. So you just adapt to what is available. Again, I could ship things in from other places, such as the US. I could ship certain things in, but then obviously you want to think of cost. You've got to think of how much that thing is, such as, let's talk phenol, for example. I use phenol for nail surgery. So if I want phenol, a specific percentage of phenol, I could ship that in from America. But you're paying for the phenol and you're paying for the shipping. And again, depending on what you're shipping in, there might be certain rules and regulations around it. So you might be better off finding an alternative. So I love it when I get a package, so exciting. So let's see what podiatry bits have arrived. Here we go.
Can I?
Hold on, darling. Right. So I did just open them. Here we go. So I've got some white disposable aprons. I've got some sterilisation pouches that have come. What's that? Some more aprons. Some more pouches.
What's in that box, Mum?
Let's have a look. And then in this one, some disposable gloves, some more gloves, some like Cuticle, which is callus remover, nice big bottle, and I got some strap-in tape, kinesiology tape, can never say that word. Good. All arrived nicely, nothing squashed and damaged. The solution's not leaking, it's arrived nicely.
You can use your productive.
And also, last but not least, use the shaking. Got some pads and a few little dressings in here. Thank you, MyCart. Lovely. So there's always that consideration. So in England, a lot easier to source things. Here in Jamaica, it's just, you know, a little bit more tricky. My regular kind of day-to-day practice, I need my instruments such as like my nail nippers, my blacks files, my files. I use dressing scissors, I use gloves, disposable gloves, I use disposable aprons. What else do I use? Foot disinfectant. But for my regular like day-to-day things, very easy to find. It's not been an issue to find at all. But again, it's just more the specific medical type things that I need, such as phenol, said before, like Mepivacaine, local anesthetic basically. Those things are a bit more fiddly to navigate where to get from. But once I've established those links, then, and you know where to go and know how the process works, then obviously it becomes a lot easier. But yes, there's those differences. But again, they're just like little things that you just have to figure out. And once you've figured it out, then you know how the process works. Yes, also, like, you probably want to think of security. I know when I worked in the NHS in England, I definitely felt secure. You know, you've got your regular hours, you're employed, you know what time you're coming in, you know what time you're leaving, you know you've got your patient load, you know your job's there, you're getting that regular salary that is dependable and that is secure. However, when you're working in private practice and you're a sole trader, you're self-employed, then it's not as secure. You've got to rely again on promoting yourself to draw in patients to then treat, and it's up to you to set the price. And as we know, people may not turn up, they may cancel, they may, and that can reduce obviously your income that day. So it's not as secure and it's not as reliable as being employed. So again, it's another factor you really, really want to consider. You need to consider the security. I found when COVID hit, that was quite a tricky period, a very uncertain period. I was self-employed at the time, and obviously I was in England when COVID hit, and initially we had 3 months where there was no work. So that's 3 months not getting paid. You're self-employed, you're not doing any work, so you're not getting paid. That was a massive setback. So again, it really does bring home making you think of security and having that secure income. The question, which country is better to work for? And I'm going to keep it real. There are pros and cons either side. There really is. But obviously, to work in England 10 years plus as a podiatrist, I must have been happy. I did find my feet. So as I said, I worked in the NHS, I worked privately, and then I started working for myself. And yeah, I enjoyed every avenue of it. Probably the later avenue is the avenue I enjoyed the most. I really did enjoy working for myself. I enjoyed structuring what I wanted to do. I liked working the hours I wanted to work. Do you know, I would say a lot of the patients that I ended up seeing actually became friends. I really enjoyed seeing them, treating them. We had a good relationship built up over time. What are the cons? let me think. What are the cons of working in England? Do I have to say like the weather most of the time? So weather most of the time. So obviously, like when I was doing my home visits, you're driving to someone's home and it's raining and you're just thinking, oh, or you're getting up to go to work and it's dark and it's grey and you're just thinking, oh. So I guess that's a con. I know it's an easy con to go to, the weather, but let's be real. The weather does make an impact on how you feel day to day. So I'd say a con of podiatry in England, it was the weather. But a pro was definitely the relationships that I built up with a lot of my patients. And again, I could kind of navigate my work the way I wanted it to be. So that was a pro, In Jamaica, one of the cons, let me think. Again, I'm going to be very real here. Let's be very real. One of the cons is patience and the timekeeping. To be honest, obviously, I can run over time, I can run late, but yeah, a lot of patients here do run late. But again, it's not the end of the world, is it? One of the positives, working in Jamaica, I find, like, I'm not saying working in England, you don't get a lot of upbeat people, but here I find the level of gratitude and joy and happiness is very elevated. People come in happy and joyful, and when you can help them with their feet, they're very, very grateful, and it's lovely. It's really, really lovely to experience. So definitely a con is the poor timekeeping. But the positive, the pro, is people's attitude. When people come in with that nice spirit, it like rubs off on you. Like if someone comes in happy and they're grateful and they're in a good mood, and it gives you take on that energy, and it's lovely. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to be. So anyway, as you can see, moving from the UK to Jamaica and moving my career has completely changed everything. Honestly, it's completely changed my life, and I'm so happy here. I'm happy, my husband's happy, my family, they're all happy. My children they're just full of energy every day, and it's been beautiful moving here. Obviously, at times it's been very challenging, but equally it's been very rewarding. I feel like even though I'm only 6 weeks in, I've learned so much already. So I always ask, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Good Souls Foot Clinic on YouTube, because I'm going to be moving my videos across there. So if you like these videos, follow me along, and I will see you in the next one. Hello, I'm here at MediConnect, and it's such a beautiful day. I'm going to show you inside, and this is where I'll be working, doing your feet. Hello everyone, it's Misha. I'm the podiatrist here at MediConnect. Look at this beautiful treatment room and look at this beautiful space we're in. Clean, fresh, modern, absolutely beautiful. So come and book your appointment here to get those feet seen to.